All right, so number 9. Ooh, we have a little bit of an assessment. Analysis using the accounting equation. Now, if you remember, we had our little Excel file up and running. We have the accounting equation. Let's go back here. Accounting equation is right there. So we'll copy that and bring it right over here just so that we can all see it again. And let's make it big. Okay, assets equals liabilities plus equity. And in here, let's move this over here just a little bit so we can do it side by side with the Excel. Where'd you go? That's the Excel I want. Okay, so side by side. Now, this first one is asking a description of the transaction. So we have 7,000 in cash. Actually, we probably just need to make this bigger. Okay, so 7,000 in cash, 0 in receivables. This is an asset. These are all assets right here, equals the liabilities plus the equity. And equity they have down as common stock and revenues, which is sort of a simplification, but that's okay. We're just talking about simple things now. So this is balanced, right? 7,000 in cash is 7,000 in common stock. So what would this be associated with? Well, I would think that if you have 7,000 in cash, where did the cash come from? And it came from common stock. Common stock comes from a shareholder putting money in. So I'm thinking this is probably a stockholder buys stock. The company received, looking for 7,000, not a bank loan because that's not a stock, that's a liability. The owner invested 7,000 cash in the business. There we go. That's number 1. So we found 7,000. We got 7,000. Now this one, we're going to look for something around a $19,000 transaction that actually, no, it's 2 different transactions. So you have I'm sorry. This is a progression. Analyze the accounting equation for each transaction and match the given transaction with its likely description. Okay, so before we had a balance of 7,000, before transaction number 2, we had a balance of $7,000 in common stock. In transaction number 2, our cash increases by $12,000, right? 19 minus 7 is 12. So that $12,000 came from this revenue because it was from 0 and now it's 12. So we want to look for something that's a $12,000 transaction. And more than likely, that's going to be transaction associated with selling something, right? Because that's what revenue is associated with, is selling something. So 12. Okay, so this says $12,000 paid to a supplier. No, that's payment. That's an expense. The company provided services for $12,000 in cash. That looks about right. So let's do that one. Okay, so the next one, there's no change in cash. We do have a change in accounts receivable. So we should be looking for a receivable, and it goes up by $13,000 here as well. So we're looking for a sale of something, services or products or something like that, that results in a receivable, something that the client owes us or the customer owes us. All right. So in this case, we're going to look for 13,000. The company billed a customer $13,000 for services. So now a bill becomes an accounts receivable. So we're going to hit that one right off the bat. Okay, so now we have, and this one, we have a decrease of $8,000 in cash. So it suggests that money went out the door. No change in receivables, but an increase in supplies. So this was $8,000 in cash, $9,000 supplies, and we also have $1,000 in receivables. So it sounds like we bought something partially with cash and partially on credit, because no other change here in the balances. So I would say something on this one is going to look like, we're going to look for we're going to look for what, an $8,000 transaction split in, no, $9,000 transaction split between $8,000 in cash and $1,000 in a credit. And that's this one right here. The company purchased supplies for $9,000, paying $8,000 in cash and putting $1,000 on credit. Okay, and lastly, this one. Okay, a bunch of cash came in, right? No change in supplies or AR. So we've got $46,000 here. And it looks like it came from common stock. So this one, we're going to look for a $46,000 transaction from a shareholder. And this is not it, because this is a supplier, not a shareholder. And it's an expense, it's cash going out, not cash coming in. So let's find a $46,000. There we go. The owner invested $46,000 cash in the business. Okay, let's check this work. All right, all done. That's 9.